Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 373 Northeast 20th Avenue here in Canby. We're located at the front of the home, just off to the right of the front door, right out in front here, just in front of the porch. We got a 3-inch ABS cleanout as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Here we go. And at the end, after the line's drained out, we'll reverse direction and scope all the pipe underneath the porch up here as well. Alright, we have a transition here to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. Looks like we've got some standing water right here. We'll take a look at this particular area once the line's all drained out at the end. Looks like a pretty short belly there. Typically, I will always recommend a repair on a belly once it hits at least 5 feet with at least an inch of standing water. That's where I typically start to see toilet paper collect in lines. Not just paper towels and things that shouldn't be going down there, but what the items that are intended for. If they start building up, that's when you know you've got an issue. But even at that point, it's still quite livable. You just have to be careful as to what you're putting down the line. And it transitions here to 6-inch 3034 PVC pipe. It looks like that belly is probably right about where the secondary cleanout is. There's a big metal plate over here adjacent to the driveway. Very common spot for bellies to occur, actually. A lot of times those stubs for the cleanout are sticking up and people drive over the top of them and it slowly but surely can sink the line. That often happens though when the house is being built. So we've got a little bit more standing water here as well. We'll have a better look at this when it's all drained out at the end. And here at 53 feet we have reached the main lateral connection. I'm going to do locates to verify where this is at exactly, and then we'll let the line drain out completely. Alright, located the camera head successfully out the main on 20th Avenue. Does pretty much a dead straight shot from the second clean out adjacent to the driveway out into the road. It looks like we're just about all drained out here. It looked like this PVC portion of the line that we're in here, I was seeing some consistent standing water throughout a lot of it, but it appears to be fairly minimal. Well, this is standing water right here that we're in right now. That's only about a 1/16 of an inch of water. It's very, very minimal. The only kind of stuff that's going to hang up there is if you're putting bacon grease down the sink. A lot of it. That belly is just about nothing. Certainly nothing worth repairing there. Yeah, that drained out nicely there. There's nothing even close to concerning in that spot, even though there's two little rinky-dink bellies there with barely a 1/16 of an inch of water for 3 to 5 feet. So this is the spot here where we saw the standing water, and this is, yeah, where the clean out's at. That's that tying into the top there. Now this is an area here that's a bit more concerning. We've got an inch of standing water here. Looks like it starts here at about 15 feet. No, it's like exactly 5 feet long and has exactly an inch of standing water in it. So for that reason, I am going to recommend a repair here. Like I said before, this one is right at the breaking point where I recommend repairs. Still livable, but I've seen enough of these over the years where if you have a bunch of kids in the house where you can't really control what's going down the line, big balls of toilet paper, grease going down the line, tampons, stuff like that will hang up in a spot like this fairly easily. At this point right now, it is quite clean and clear of any debris at all. Now keep that in mind. This is kind of a spot repair here that I would recommend, and a lot of it has to do with liability reasons. You can see how clean it is. If you're not putting lots of stuff down the line that shouldn't be going down there, this is very unlikely to cause problems. But this right here is right at the point where if you're balling up toilet paper and things like that, especially if you're putting paper towels, tampons, grease down the kitchen sink, it will hang up here very easily. For that reason, I am going to recommend a spot repair there. If you don't decide to do a repair, I recommend just re-scoping the line in a year to get an idea of how it's handling the new homeowner's living habits. Every household lives differently. You could have 2 people here now, but 6 are moving in, and there's a bunch of little kids in the house, stuff like that. Now, biggest thing to keep in mind if a repair is not done is the only thing that should be going down the toilet is folded toilet paper. Don't use flushable wipes, even the flushable kind, any type of wipe, just toilet paper only. And then as for the kitchen sink, you can still put food down the disposal, just avoid anything with fats, grease, cooking oil, anything like that. That will hit a spot like this and build up quite easily. Now I'm just going to put 2 little white dot markings here at each end of the belly. Alright, I'm putting these markings, this is right on the edge of the driveway here. The line, I mean, barely runs underneath it. It's probably about the first 4 inches or so under the driveway where it runs. And you can line that up with the big metal plate clean out here in the driveway. That's directly in line with this, but I'm putting the markings just to the side of it in the grass. In the event the repair is not done, I just don't want to have a bunch of big paint markings on the driveway here. So just keep that in mind. Any repair guy should be able to figure that out. I mean, we're talking an inch to the side of the actual pipe. About 3 feet 4 inches deep there, and being as close as it is to the driveway, if you were to do a repair, sometimes when they're right on the edge like that, you sometimes have the ability to tunnel under the concrete rather than to actually cut it and repair it. I've got that mapped out there with a white X at each end of the repair. We're at 2 feet 8 inches deep here at the end. It's very, very shallow, which don't hold me to it, but when they're that shallow on the edge of a driveway, it makes it a lot easier to tunnel underneath the driveway rather than to have to cut it. So keep that in mind. There's a decent chance you might not have to do any concrete repair here. So about 3 feet 4 inches deep at the start, 2 feet 8 inches, and that's because the slope of the driveway, there's less ground above it when you get down to the end of the belly. Now, because we have an inch of standing water here, there's actually more than that now that I'm sitting here measuring it. Let me push out here again. Now there's closer to about 1.5 inches of water there, we'll call it. Once it goes over that point, we really can't measure it all that successfully with just eyeballing it, but yeah, there's about 1.5 inches of standing water in that spot. I do recommend a spot repair to correct that. We're going to reel back into the clean out here and reverse direction and scope all the pipe from the clean out back towards the home. Once we get into the foundation, we'll stop there. We want to make sure we get all the pipe under the concrete porch scoped. Aside from that belly, everything else we just scoped there out to the main lateral is in good condition and has good flow and is functioning properly. And at this time, the line is still functioning. There's not major debris buildup in there, but at this point, there is still decent flow through that belly area, as there's not a bunch of debris built up in it. But once debris starts collecting in a belly, it usually starts to compound on itself, especially if you put grease down the line or cooking oil. It'll build up there and cause everything else to stick that would otherwise might float right over the top of it or get through it. Now at this point here, we are back inside the home. I'm going to go ahead and reel the camera out. All the pipe from the clean out back into the foundation or under the porch here is in good condition with good flow. Again, if you don't do a repair, get a rescope done in a year just to get a baseline for how that is handling your living habits. The line is functioning at this time, but draining slowly due to the belly. Now here's the front porch area where the line comes out. It heads this direction, and then right where this little, might be able to see it with the camera here, you can see my white paint on the grass. It extends from the walkway to the sidewalk area, that span of 5 feet there.